you ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
Well, welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. You're listening to us on Broadway World or over here on the Broadway Podcast Network. Carlyle Eubanks, I know you're a writer, you're a director, you do everything. And I am so scared of riding a horse, so I need you to tell me all about your new Western named Bro. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's a very personal movie to me, about a guy who's kind of clinging to his fading rodeo career and gets kind of jammed up in a spring blizzard, and as he's kind of gonna going in and out of consciousness, you sort of see the 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 deterioration of his career and his family life and the bad decisions that got him into that jam. And yeah, I mean, I can't say that it's like one-to-one autobiographical, but like little pieces of various aspects of my life, whether it's something I lived through or stories I was told by close friends. It just kind of came together into one kind of like reflective narrative, I guess you'd call it.
How long did you work on writing this? When did you start drafting this movie?
And I wrote this movie well over 10 years ago. I probably wrote it. Oh man, I should have done the math on this, but I think it was probably 12 or 13 years ago. Um, so it's been a long time coming, it's been a long, long road to get it to, this stage where people can see the movie.
Well, the trailer looks awesome. And Wyatt
Yeah,
Russell looks awesome in this
yeah,
as True Brandywine.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it just looks like a beautiful shot film from
yeah,
Bliss Springs to
yeah,
weather to the cold.
yeah,
Like, so where did you shoot this and how did you make it look like all these different environments and different weather and temperatures?
yeah.
Like, is it shot over a year? What did you do?
Yeah, we had two production schedules. We shot the kind of snow winter portion. It's technically like a spring storm, but we'll just call it winter for the sake of simplicity. We shot that in the winter in Montana. So the whole thing was shot in Montana. So we went to Montana in February, shot for 10 days, I think, roughly. And then we took a 3 month pause, which is always nerve-wracking when you're making like an independent film, because so much can go wrong, and it's not like you have like all the resources in the world to like reconstitute everything. So you're just relying on a lot of like just people loving the project to come back, I guess you'd say. But yeah, then we took a 3 month break and then came back to the same place in Montana, which was Anaconda, Deer Lodge, and Butte. It's kind of like a little section of like south central Montana-ish. Um, and yeah, we just shot it. We just shot it in, found locations and real blizzards and real rodeos and real diners and real people's houses. None of it is there's no like stage on any of it. Like none of the interiors are stage. We just had to go around and find the real thing and ask people, can we take over your house for, a week? And can we actually like use we also timed it so that, the family puts up hay. So, we timed it when they'd be cutting hay as well. So, because that's a part of that family's sort of natural. And I know like quite a bit about like that process. So I knew we wanted to go at the right time, when they were baling as opposed to cutting. So it was like threading a needle for a lot of things to try to get it feeling as natural as possible. Because nobody's gonna like contrive that. You have to fit into what people are naturally doing in those cycles of farming. So it was a lot of fun, but it was a logistical kind of like crazy, crazy thing.
It sounds amazing that you all put this all together. And I want people to know while we're talking, it's on May 6th. May 6th, the
Yeah.
film is out. Broke. You can remember it. I remembered it because that's what my bank account says when I log in.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
broke.
I
And
think we can
this,
all identify with that.
but no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that
Yeah.
about you, Carlisle, because
Yeah.
not only did you make a movie, an
Yeah.
independent film, but you got it distributed. And you didn't just get it distributed, but you got it distributed by Sony Pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's quite making the film is a feat. Writing a
Yeah.
film is a feat, and then getting it distributed and picked up by Sony. What does it mean to
Yeah.
have the backing of this as
That's
distribution?
really they've been amazing. I was talking about this with one of the producers, not at Sony, recently, just about how grateful I was. Like we, they were just starting to pick the film up, but I don't think it had been fully delivered yet, or they were in the process. So like legally, it's like, in gray area, and they're not wanting to do marketing at that point. But I had a conversation with somebody there that I had an opportunity to go to the national finals rodeo, which was back in December, to talk about the movie because I knew it was coming out this year, and I knew it would be coming out before next year's national finals rodeo. And I got on with Sony and I pled my case. I said, look, there's a Super Bowl rodeo. I have a lot of friends there. They want to support me. They want to support this movie. Like, is there any chance like I could go and talk about the movie there? And they're such a cool group of folks there that they were like, sure, like we'd love for that to happen. So they were able to get me some clips. I mean, this is before we really even had official like marketing departments involved. So we just got clips, and then I was able to convince Dennis Quaid to come along. And so we went to the NFR and we did some press there, and went to a Charlie Crockett concert because he's a good friend and did music for the movie. And we just had a great time. And Sony, blessed the whole thing. So they've been such a great partner. It's been really, really great. Very collaborative and cool. And they care about my opinion. And I have a lot of opinions about this movie because it's personal, it's my movie, but it's also the world that I know really well, and I want it shown in the right way, and I want to speak to the people that I think are really going to respond to it. I mean, I hope everybody in the world responds to it, but just kind of honing in on sort of the audience I had in mind to begin with was always sort of my hope, and they've been really supportive about it.
Well, what I love about your career is that it says in your bio that you rode horses before you could walk. So you have walked the walk, rode the road, I guess, ride before
Yeah,
before you
yeah,
t you talk the talk about it all.
yeah,
But
yeah.
also, not only did you are you Westerns in 2025 are not
I
necessarily
know.
the norm anymore. They're
Right,
an art
right.
form that's so was it hard to sell that? I'm making a modern
Yeah, there were a
Western.
lot of like blank stares and no's, trying to get it off the ground. And I mean, it was such a long time ago that I wrote it that Yellowstone wasn't even on TV yet. So it was like completely like out of the blue, like there was no real touchstone for like modern Westerns, especially something as like specific as this, because this isn't, it's like, it's not like the most I mean, I think the themes are very universal and very relatable, but I think like the way I try to do that is by being like very specific about like bareback bronc riding and the rodeo career. I kind of like dive into that ultra specific so that I can mine it for like the most universal themes, like obviously like hanging on to something that doesn't want you to be on its back anymore. I think that's like a very like great visual metaphor. Um, but yeah, it I wanted to reach the kind of like broadest kind of thoughts by being the most specific.
Well, I'm excited to check it out. I'm excited for everybody to check it out.
Yeah.
You're fascinating because you've worked with some pretty famous movie stars. I mean, Dennis Quaid is in
Yeah.
this. You wrote movies that have had Kurt Russell. You've wrote movies that have had Aaron Eckhart, and
Yeah.
people are obsessed with the movie star. But I'm sure when you shot this film, Dennis Quaid could do all the big $100 million blockbuster movies, but he was
Yeah.
out here in the in the thick of it, just like
Yeah.
everybody else.
Yeah.
What was it like?
Yeah. It was really great, really great. I remember I got a call from him. This was before he attached, but I guess it was the beginning of him being interested. But he left me a really nice voicemail just saying like he'd read the script and it was the most authentic thing he'd read in a really long time, and he really wanted to talk to me. And he was going to be up in my neck of the woods because I live about 3 hours north of LA, doing something. And could he, if he was around, would I be willing to meet up with him? I was like, of course I will. So we went for a ride, like I saddled some horses and we went out for a ride. And yeah, it just always felt really easy and natural with Dennis. Number one, I think just as a person, he's a very kind, like just like loving guy. very kind-hearted. So in that way, he's just easy to get along with. But then he really cared about this project and cared about helping me get it made. It was very like paternal, I guess you could say. And I always really appreciated that because it's a hard business. It's like, you need people to bet on you. And so it's really feels really good when people that have his stature but are also really good people. It feels really good when they bet on you because there was a lot of nobody betting on me up until then. So it was great. Yeah, I love Dennis. I really, really love that guy.
So what can we do to support the film? Where can we see it? And what can
Yeah.
we do? Who should we tell? Tell us what we could do.
Yeah, May 6th, it comes out on Apple, Amazon, and Fandango, I believe. It's going to be streaming, and yeah, just tell everybody you know that loves westerns or just loves stories about, subcultures or people that want to watch a story about struggle and transformation and overcoming your personal demons. Like, it's a very universal movie. And I think I was like clumsily making this point a few minutes ago, but I think the point I'm trying to make is like sometimes you can find the most universal stuff in the most specific things. And I don't want to like compare myself to these movies because they're so good, but like I think of movies like Black Swan or The Wrestler. Those are very ultra specific subcultures, and yet everybody that watches them, even though they're not a ballerina or they're not a professional wrestler, you just like something about a commitment to a subculture just feels very universal, because you really can feel like the passion and the desire, but then also I think everybody understands when like you have to make a big life choice and redefine yourself. And people who commit themselves to these ultra specific things, at some point, you have to like face the music and you have to kind of become something else. And that can be really terrifying. So I think the point I'm trying to make is I think anybody can identify with that. And I really hope the movie speaks to a very broad audience, not just the people that the movie is about, which I hope they love it too, but I'd love for everybody to take away some hope or some, food for thought from this movie.
Well, I'm excited. I am not a cowboy, but I know, but my husband made me go horseback riding
Yeah,
in Michigan.
yeah,
Carlisle, horses are high. You're up there on that. You're at 10 feet in the air, and
yeah,
I have that horse starts to go, and I just scream. So this
yeah,
is maybe not the subculture for me, but I'm going to appreciate the
yeah,
filmmaking because you're somebody
yeah.
that's about characters, and no matter where you are, and the movies you just mentioned are about characters. So fall in love with these characters and their struggle.
Correct.
And
Correct.
next time you're here, we'll have to talk about your love of Steinbeck and blockbuster video. That's
Okay.
that's what we'll do. That's everybody. That's my I know this age and stage because I was a blockbuster
Oh
fanatic.
yeah, man, that was a sad day in my life when that Blockbuster went away. I mean, that was like everything, Friday night after school, you get out of school and when you're younger, your mom drives you there and drops you off, and when you're older, you drive yourself. And man, it's just what a loss. What a
They won't
huge loss
understand what it was
for
like
the
to
world.
find the VHS behind the cover and you actually had a copy and it wasn't sold like wasn't that's the best feeling in the
Yeah, and
world.
you could buy candy on the way out. It was just like, man, I think I feel bad for the current generation that they don't get to have that. I hope someone has some bright, cool idea to sort of bring it back as a novelty. Because, I mean, yeah, I truly miss our Blockbuster. It was kind of our lifeline to movies up here because I live in a pretty small town. So that was kind of like a shining kind of beacon of civilization for me.
Well, if you are a student of those films in that era, then I know this movie is going to be great. May 6th, everybody, Broke will be out. Make sure you stream it at home. Perfect, perfect as the spring is coming and you see
Yeah,
beautiful landscape, be outside, get your
yeah.
spring on. See with Broke. Carlisle, congratulations. All the
Thank
best. We
you.
look forward to you to coming back with the next one. And we
Thank you.
thanks.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it.